Afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope y'all are doing well. Welcome to another episode of another episode 2 of Bull in a China Shop, and today I'm happy to be having a discussion with a good friend of mine. I've been following her and her artwork for a few years now. Delighted to have her on the show to talk about her career as an artist and some of the projects that she's working on. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Lil Mousy Bianca. So Bianca, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I am a mouse and my name is Bianca. That's the interview.
That's the interview. Yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See you guys later, buddy.
Goodbye. So now, how long have you been part of the furry fandom?
I'm not really sure if I'd consider myself a part of the fandom, because I don't go to cons or like make anything for the community or any of that. But I guess realistically, I could say probably since like middle school.
Okay, so
So
a long time.
2004, 2005.
Okay, so I mean, almost 2 decades now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and what inspired your persona? Why a mouse?
Outside of the screaming and anguish
Yes.
I suffer every day,
Yeah.
I tend to be a very quiet, laid-back person, very hesitant of new people. So I feel like a mouse just kind of fits that motif.
And with you being in the fandom for quite a while, do your family and friends know about your involvement in the fandom?
I mean, I don't hide it or anything. I just don't think anyone cares. Like, they know that I have a mouse character, and I think that's as far as it... I mean, that's as far as it goes for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they really think much of it. Since, like, animal characters in media is just so big of a thing now.
Yeah. And for me, definitely, Disney played a role in just becoming a fan of Anthro and eventually, being a full-time furry cartoon bull on the internet. What kind of got you into the fandom?
I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that I grew up really loving the Sonic games, which explains a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what got me into it. I've just always thought that Anthro characters were cute.
Yeah, same here. Same here. So I've only been, lurking on Twitch for a few years now, but somehow, some way, somebody back in the day raided your channel, and then, that's how I discovered you. And the entire time I've known you, art has always been a big part of your streams. So,
Yeah.
so I guess,
I couldn't art.
yeah. So, how long have you been an artist?
That's a tough question to answer. When I was younger, I really liked drawing, but I feel like that's normal for kids to just want to draw. I used to draw like little doodles and like swords and shields and spears and up until like probably middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And then my parents just didn't want me to pursue art, and they wanted me to just get into other stuff, and so I just kind of lost it. And then back in college, I initially, people don't know this, but I technically have a double major in college in astrophysics and mythology.
Mm-hmm.
I never graduated, but that's a whole nother story of why my college fucked me over. Oh,
Gotcha.
Can I swear here, by the way?
Sure. Yeah, it's your interview. You can do what you want.
Okay. Or...
I've still got the
But
18 plus mature rating. Yep, there we go. Okay, yep, we're good.
I initially wanted to do game design because I wanted to like make stories and characters for video games. So I took a 2D animation course.
Okay.
Which I thought was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it, and the teacher was like, I really don't care if you can't draw. That's fine. Just just make sure it's consistent. And I was able to get consistent at drawing badly. And I was able to actually be the top of the class in that class because my animations were always very smooth because they wanted like 10 frames per second and have it be like half a second and just have like a standard walk cycle.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
being the bitch I am, I decided to go above and beyond and made 30 frames per second for 2.5 seconds of my character walking around the entire sheet of paper upside down and stuff.
Yeah, so we're talking
so
60 plus frames for 2.5 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. But because I knew I couldn't draw, I just decided to not pursue it because I figured that you had to know how to draw in order to do it. And then, God, that was in 2010. And I did not do anything with art at all until 2021? No, 2018.
Wow.
One of my friends got me an art tablet. And I just started like drawing shit, and it was terrible. It will never see the light of day. And then in 2021, I met Foxy.
Mm-hmm.
And started doing all this art for me and stuff. And I'm like, what if you give me the line art and I try to color it? And he's like, okay. So I do it, and it comes out pretty poorly. It looks like shit. Like, I am embarrassed by it at this point. My shading was just throwing random blobs of light and dark, which didn't work. And then over the next couple of years, I just played around with lighting and shading and stuff, and my PNG was, the line art was done by Foxy, but all the color and stuff was done by me. I like very light highlights, very dark shadows, and very strong bloom. Because it really makes the character stand out, I think. For this style that I'm going for, I've only been doing this for 7 months, maybe. So I've had kind of a few quick lessons, and it's all self-taught that I've just gone in and just seen what I can do with it and experimented. And I think it's come out decently well.
I think so too. And for those of you who don't know, those who may be new to the channel, literally all of the artwork that I have done, this entire studio, my character, Yuma, I mean, pretty much like everything, every single thing that you see more or less was done by both Bianca and Foxy. So, obviously I like your work, and that's why I keep coming back to both of y'all.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So just to kind of recap on your art journey. So you were interested in it at an early age, and then you said around 2010 is when you kind of stopped. Is that right?
Yeah, because I just figured if I can't like draw a character, then why would I think I'd be able to draw anything realistically?
And then in 2018-ish, you decided to get back into it?
Yeah, because one of my friends, actually someone I've known since, well, 2018 actually, she was my first ever mod. She's an artist. And she actually donated me money to get an art tablet on a dare.
On a dare?
Like, I was joking around with her saying, wow, your art's pretty shit, I could do better. She just said bet and sent me the money for an art tablet, and I bought it, and all downhill from there.
and that from that moment, the legend of Bianca was created.
And now, I'm also eating a...
I was gonna say, are you eating?
A non-brand Hot Pocket.
Oh, yes.
Lately, Foxy's been sending me just sketches so that I can learn how to do line art, and then eventually I'm going to go to doing my own sketches.
Gotcha. My question was, and just trying to do the recap of the timeline. So what is it that inspired you to, get back into art?
Well, as I said before, one of my majors in college was mythology. And I actually had enough credits to have a minor in creative writing. Because I wanted to create like a world so that I could have it like, I don't know, be a video game or something. Like I was messing around with the RPG Maker at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, if I do RPG Maker, it's gonna look like every other fucking RPG Maker game out there, and no one's gonna want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I do like actual story writing, I'm not great with descriptors. Most of my stories are very dialogue heavy. I figured that's not a great way to tell a story if I write it in like a story form of just 90% dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like the next best thing is to just make it a comic. But oh shit, I can't draw.
Mm-hmm.
So back in 2017, when I first started on the Black Rose initially, it was a full like fantasy novel. I had like 150 pages of it written.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it got lost and I had to completely restart it.
So okay, you had like a short novel completed, and then it got lost.
In Hurricane Irma, yes.
Wow. Okay, so you had to start all of that more or less, from scratch again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say most people at that point they would have given up. I mean, what kept you going?
Well, actually, let's go back a little bit because when I originally started in RPG Maker wanting to make a game with the world and story I have now, that started probably back in like 2008, 2009.
Okay.
So this has been a story going on for almost 2 decades now. I don't like to give up. I'm the kind of person who, if I know there's a way to do something, I will figure it out and I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always liked to entertain people. I eventually want to get back to the describe yourself and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I had a very not good childhood from multiple angles, from sickness to parents to living situation. And I don't want anyone to feel like I did, where you're alone in the world and no one and nothing can help you. I want to be able to make something where people can see it and smile and have fun, even if just for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want this story to be told, because it's gonna be a long story. And I hope that it just makes someone's day better if they see it. And that's why I didn't give up, because I just want people to be able to be happy with what I've created.
The past few years that I've known you, I have to say that you're probably one of the, one of the tougher individuals that I know. If there's something that you want to do, I know for a fact you're going to figure out a way to get it done.
Right.
And I admire that perseverance quite a bit. So getting back to the Black Rose, you've already like written quite a bit of material, a few times now. Just getting started making a comic, what type of challenges did you have to go through?
Yes.
Just all of them.
I'm doing it kind of backwards, actually.
Okay.
Like, I had an original world map, and it sucked. Up on the top there, you see wow, I cannot words. Sazrahi
Mm-hmm.
is one of the 7 continents of my world, and it has different countries, it has different landscapes, and the world that I made before was very boring and flat, and it didn't make sense to the story. Like, I had just the stereotypical ice region, the stereotypical forest region, and it was like, this is boring, this is what everyone does. And so instead of that, since I like creating very character-driven stories, I started working on the characters. In the original story, way back in like 2008, 2009, the main character was a girl living in the forest named Winter. It was weird and it didn't make a ton of sense at the time. But I had written like the whole story about her story and the other like 30 characters until the document got lost in 2017 when I decided to start over.
Okay.
And then I wanted to make it a story about Mousy, But that quickly changed when I realized that even though that character and myself are different, even though I say that, like, the character on screen now is absolutely me,
Mm-hmm.
but the character in the comic was different. But I know people would have seen that as a self-insert, and I didn't want a story like that, where it seemed like the story was just all about me.
Mm-hmm.
So I made Mira and Rotri and Marin and Petra and a bunch of other characters to go into the story. And I think that's a good place to start. Instead of building characters into a world, I think it's more fun to make characters and then build the world around them.
Interesting.
Like Petra and these two new characters that I have not yet shown off all come from Idmera, which is in the desert. And instead of being like, oh, this is how they are, I have always been very interested in Sumeria, Babylonia, Arabia, Persia, Egypt, the whole culture. And so Petra started as like a belly dancer and a gypsy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other characters started as like royal temple guards. And I'm like, okay, that seems like it would be an Egyptian or Persian style area. So I'm going to make that a desert. And so Idmera came to be. And so I built the world around the characters instead of dropping characters into this already made world. The hard part about that, though, is that a lot more goes into character creation than people think.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just need a name, a face, a gender, that kind of stuff. You need, like, what are their attitude towards this? What food do they like? What food do they dislike? What do they like doing for fun? This character needs to be a real living person in your world, and you need to make it believable that they are a real living person in this world. And I think that's the main challenge of starting a story.
For a lot of the characters that you have in the Black Rose, do all of them kind of contain a little piece of you? I mean, like, or maybe different parts of your personality, or maybe exaggerated parts of your personality?
I would like to think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Like Mira, who is the character right in the center of the cover of the first chapter up there,
Mm-hmm.
is very, I don't want to say set in her ways, but like
Hardened, maybe?
not hardened, but like she's a very laid back person, very like strong willed, and very content in how she lives. But if someone messes with her friends or those she cares about, she will go into an absolute fit of rage and do everything in her power to just kill them. That is not me. But
Gotcha.
one thing I like doing with character creation is, oh, this character's great. They're strong. Let's make them an asshole.
Yeah.
Because I have always hated stories where the good guys are all like goody little two shoes. They can't do anything wrong, and the bad guys are just evil to be evil.
Yeah.
No one in my story is good or evil. There is no such thing in my story. They all have their own reasons for doing things, and that's where it ends. You may find their reasoning to be bad, and if so, then they would be the bad guy. If you find the reasoning to be justified, then they're your good guy. But it all depends on perspective, because I've always seen the world not as black and white, but just, it's all gray. There is no morally good or morally bad in this world. And to teach us otherwise in stories is harmful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get too much into, like, this stuff. But, like, if someone's family was starving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that person needs food, has no way to get food or money. If they break into someone's house while that person is sleeping and steal a little bit of food, are they immediately a terrible, horrible human being? The law would tell us yes, but his actions are justified. Like, he would have died if he didn't do that. So therefore, he's providing for his family. Is it morally right? No. But also kind of yes. So that's why I think the way that the world is, where we're taught good and evil, is just so wrong and skewed and harmful, because if that happened to someone, they could say throw them in jail for 50 years without even realizing he was trying to save himself and his family.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree that there are infinite shades of gray. Like just another example, if somebody breaks into a pharmacy to steal a medication they can't afford so they can save their friends or family. I mean, like you said, according to the law, yeah, that's breaking and entering and theft, but they were doing it for a good cause. So
Right.
the world is not cut and dry, black and white. I totally agree with that. So could you maybe, just for everybody who hasn't seen the Black Rose yet, could you maybe talk about the world that these characters exist in? Because, just based off of the cover art that's above my head, it looks like it's, modern times. What type of world do these characters exist in?
That is another hard question to answer.
Well, that's good. I'm full of hard questions, I guess.
I'm full of hard things right now. Bones!
Oh my god.
Around 206 of them. One of them probably still broken. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So what you see there is one of the very few cities. The world is going to be very unjust. Where, like, there are a couple of cities, but you have to be, like, the top class, like top 1%, to live in one of these cities.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that the rest of the world is going to be, like, poor or bad or anything, but I say this without sounding terrible. Not terrible, but, like, without making it political. Basically, the big cities are all going to be, like, on the outside utopias, but once you get in, you're going to see how corrupt everything really is and how bad it truly is to live in them. And I feel that's another thing not really talked about as much in the media and stuff. How, like, oh, Finland is the happiest place on earth. But if you go to Finland, there's a lot of people there who are still suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So we get an idea of, like, what Scandinavia is like. But actually going there and seeing it firsthand is a completely different beast.
So would you say that certain aspects of the Black Rose is kind of your commentary on the modern world?
In a way, yes. Mostly in the way that, again, I don't want to get into, like, political stuff too much.
Yeah, no worries.
But I know that, like, pretty much any story is going to have some political influence. I am pretty much right down the center when it comes to politics. I don't like either side personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that unless you are on purpose, physically, mentally, or emotionally hurting someone, do whatever the fuck you want. Everyone should have the freedoms of everyone else. No one should be treated differently. But if you look at either side of the US political spectrum, both sides claim to want peace with everyone, but both sides still treat other people differently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna get into details because I don't want to, like, put myself on blast.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a very unfair world. Like, I don't want to use me as an example, but, like, I grew up with 2 forms of cancer. One in my brain and one on my central nervous system on my brain stem. Because of that, I am now unable to work, which is another reason why I want to do the comic, because I want to be able to make a job for myself and, like, be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
But now, because I was born with those disabilities, I am now seen as lesser than most other people. And that's not right. Just because I was born with different abilities than other people does not mean I'm lesser. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That is quite a bit for anyone to go through in life in general, and then to go through that at a young age. That's quite a bit. Would you say that that experience and everything else, does that still have an influence on your storytelling and your art today?
Um, I'm not really sure. I try not to like talk about it or bring it up much because to me, like people are always like, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened," but like, no, that's just how my normal is. So I don't know if it affects my stuff that much because I don't know what it would have been like if that didn't happen, if it would have been different.
Hmm.
I try not to let it influence me. I don't know if it does or not, but I try not to let it.
Okay.
Like I don't want to make the story like a political commentary or anything. I just want it to be good fun.
Okay. Yeah, totally. I get it. So I'd like to, try and go back to your developing art style, because I know in some of our previous conversations you discussed practicing different forms of shading, and you want to get more into line art. For that entire process, what or who do you look to for inspiration, or what influences you?
That's a tough one because I'm really not 100% sure. I watched cartoons throughout my entire life. I played video games. I just like art in general.
So I mean, and I think I already know the answer, but if you had to pick your favorite game of all time and that art style, what would it be?
Favorite game based just on art style?
Or I guess, yeah, just maybe, well, trying to figure out where you maybe draw a lot of your influence from, since video games play, a big role in your life.
Right. A lot of the stuff that I like art-wise in video games is like Zelda and Okami and Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest.
Hmm.
Just very, I guess the word would be stylized. Like the PNG that I have here. Normally you wouldn't see such a strong shadow on one side without it being like sort of faded in a little bit.
Hmm.
But I feel like if I keep it like it is now, it sort of says this is Mousy's art. Because it's different and it's a stylized shadow instead of one that makes more sense.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's not something I've thought about a lot.
yeah. But I mean, I know. I mean, like, if I'm ever on a game show and they ask me a question about Zelda, like, you're gonna be the person that I call.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I have. I mean, in addition to Pokemon and a lot of other things, Zelda, like, that is your thing. I guess a follow-up question would be, what is it about Zelda that I guess garners such strong feelings for you?
There's a lot to that question.
Okay.
The original Zelda on NES was my first ever video game that I've ever played. Back in 1995 when I was 4 years old.
Going way back. All right.
And I 100% it within like a year and a half, all on my own.
Wow. Okay.
I love the exploration aspect of it. I love being able to explore this new world, see how things work, see how the people live,
Mm-hmm.
see what the animals are like. And then I played Zelda 2, it was okay. And then I played A Link to the Past, and I did not like it very much. It is my least favorite Zelda game. Even though that is like the words of death to the Zelda fandom.
Oh no.
And then I just stopped playing. And then when Ocarina of Time came out, I played it and I was like, this is okay. Majora's Mask came out. I was slightly more into it than Ocarina of Time, but still not great. But then, in 2000, let me actually look this up when this came out. I think it was 2002. I don't want the HD models, I just want the date.
So yeah, early 2000s.
2003.
Okay.
So in 2002 is when I started like trying to save up money because I wanted a Nintendo GameCube, which was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I could get Luigi's Mansion, but I was at that age where like Mario's dumb. I want something more mature.
Yeah.
I picked up the Wind Waker. And it was the first ever console and game I ever bought with my own money. And that game is. Well, actually, that game I could say is one of the biggest influences for my art style because it also has very strong shading and stuff. And that game really made me love the Zelda franchise. And then a few years later, Twilight Princess came out, and I thought that it was okay. I had fun with it. Never tried to 100% it, never even beat it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in early 2008, my grandfather and I used to go to the movies all the time. He would take me to see pretty much anything I wanted, and we hung out a lot. He was the most important person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a Navy vet. He was born in 1926.
Booyah, Navy.
So he was 82 at this point. We were at a movie theater and he fell and fucked up his hip. And I blamed myself for so long. And then later that year in June, he ended up dying from it.
Oh, no.
And I just didn't want to talk to anybody anymore. So I locked myself in my room, started up Twilight Princess, and played through it in its entirety multiple times. And it's my favorite game for emotional reasons because I feel like it was the one thing keeping me together at that time. And that's why it's such an important game to me. Even though it's not the best Zelda game, it's my favorite because of that. And yeah, ever since then, I've just loved anything and everything Zelda.
So it really became more than a game for you in that situation. I mean, it really helped you get through a very difficult time of your life.
Yes. Yes, now I know if, like, I'm ever not feeling well or I just need, like, a mental day off, I'll just, like, turn on Wind Waker or Twilight Princess and just, like, sit there and just relax with the game. And it just makes me sort of forget about the world for a little while. It's like an escape for me.
Would you say that that feeling, the ability to escape, is that something that you want to try and recreate with the Black Rose and your other work?
Absolutely. My biggest storytelling influence is definitely Zelda because the characters are usually very, I don't want to say like good and evil, but they are very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Very like set in stone. Like Ganondorf is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Link is good. Zelda is good. But then you have characters like Midna. I don't know if you mind spoilers for Twilight Princess at all.
Oh, no, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Midna starts as a total bitch, which is why I love her so much.
Okay.
She finds Link as a wolf and just uses him to get what she wants, which is to get her life back in the world of Twilight and just get rid of Zant, who is a usurper king. He usurped the throne. And that's just the way the story is. Until you get to the halfway point and you find Zant, and he pretty much kills Midna. He puts her into the light world, which in that case means that she has lost her ability to, I don't want to say live, but it basically put her on life support, and she only had a few minutes to live. Just really intense scene, with still my favorite video game soundtrack of all time, which is called Midna's Lament, which is a very sad and emotional song. While you run back, it's storming all the way back to the castle to see Zelda, who, seeing this small imp, who would in every way be a villain, Zelda literally dies in order to bring Midna back to life to help Link. And I think that was a turning point for me in knowing what a hero or a villain were in media. Where, like, this hero died so that this villain could then live. And it's like, I really like that because it shows that she has compassion more for just her own people, but that she cares about everything and everyone. And I want to bring stuff like that into my story, where, like, just because someone is different or not, I don't want to say as privileged, but not as strong as others, doesn't mean that they don't deserve the same kindness and respect of everyone else. And I want that to reflect in the story. And so I think that's the only reason why Zelda's so important to me, is because it shows how characters aren't just one dimensional. They're very fleshed out, three-dimensional people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just always been important to me. And from that point on, Midna was very kind and caring towards Link because she knows that without him, she would be dead. So she owes her life to him, so she wants to pay it back as kindness.
No, that's very deep. What does sacrifice mean to you? Like, just based off of, kind of what you've described here. You have one character sacrificing themselves for another character that could be interpreted as evil. It seems like this is, a very deep-rooted theme that is, with you and your work, and it's something that, is in the video games that you play. I mean, like, you definitely sacrifice quite a bit for, everything that you do art-wise. What won't you sacrifice, to try and, make something happen? It seems like that just is the essence of you, really.
I mean, the only thing that I won't sacrifice is, like, I'm not gonna make myself go homeless or go hungry or give up my life. But anything else, like, I am not a material person per se. Like, what I own a couple game consoles, I own some plushies, I own a bed, a desk, a drawing tablet, and a computer.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all I own in this world. And I don't care about anything else. Once I have what I'm comfortable with, I'm willing to give up anything else in order to achieve what I want to do in life. Like, if I, in the future, make, like, just throwing a number out there, like $3,000 a month, right? And I need $800 a month for bills, $200 a month for food. If I can put that other $2,000 into better use than just buying stuff, I will absolutely do that, rather than saving it or spending it on something for me or for someone else. I would put it back into what I'm trying to create, because aside from what I need to survive, money just isn't important to me. Because I grew up not having money, so I know what it's like to not have money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not comfortable having big sums of money. So I think the most I would give up realistically is just all the money I had aside from the essentials.
Understood.
Even with streaming, my goal of streaming is to eventually be able to make enough from it once I hit partner, which, by the way, I'm very close, guys.
Ooh, yes, congrats.
I only need like 570 more watch hours for the next like 4 months, which is completely doable.
Yes,
Well,
and
3 months.
I'd like to take a second, and this would be a good time to plug your channel on YouTube. So,
Yeah.
for those of you who are watching, I have Bianca's channel linked at the very top of chat. So, if you can, go ahead and check her out, and she'll be streaming later on today. I believe you said 5 o'clock Eastern. Is that right?
About an hour, yeah.
In about an hour. Yep. So,
I stream a little bit of everything, from art to video games. I'm doing a Zelda challenge called the Masso Quest, which is
yes.
painful.
Yes. So Mousy apparently likes pain, lots of pain, self-inflicted most of the
Hell
time,
yeah.
I think. Yes. Yeah. So right above my head is one of the maps that you just got done creating, and I know this map in particular, it fits into a much larger world. Could you talk to us a little bit about, like, the challenges that you're currently going through? What type of hurdles have you had to overcome so far? Things like that.
So, in terms of like challenges, I think the biggest one for me is just I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just winging it and hope it looks good. But for world building, this is gonna come to no surprise for anybody. Tolkien, God, what's her name? Who wrote the Dragon Riders of Pern?
Ooh, good question.
Anne McCaffrey.
Okay.
So Tolkien, McCaffrey, Le Guin, all those people inspired me to want to love high fantasy. I love magic and all that great stuff. Dragon Riders of Pern. It really is great. It's one of my favorites. But my favorite is the Earthsea cycle by Ursula Le Guin. And so I wanted to make something that looks like it could be a real place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kind of succeeded in that. I'm not 100% sure. But I want it to look like it could fit into a real world.
Mm-hmm.
And because I study mythology extensively in college, I want to have each main continent of the world be a different mythology that I studied.
Mm-hmm.
This one being based on Persia. So everything here, except for Idmera, which is a word that I made up, is all based on real Persian words, just changed. Like Shimur is based off of Simurg, which is a beast from Persian mythology. Ulam, if you take out the H, just means forest in Persian. Virani Desert, if you take out one of the V's and one of the A's, Virani is just desolation. So it's like a desolate landscape, like a desert. But it's not obvious things. Like, I'm not calling it desert.
Yeah, a bit deeper than just the like the typical labeling. Yeah.
Since they're in other languages that aren't commonly known around here, it's not obvious where those come from, and they just look like they could work as names. And like I tried to have a balance of like the desert is most of the country or of the continent, but you have the mountains there. So on one side of the mountains, shadow side of the mountain where it doesn't get a lot of rain is a desert. Then on the other side, there's a lot of forest and a lot, like, obviously I'm not going to draw every single tiny forest or river or lake, but you have very lush green area on one side and then a very not so lush green on the other side, which is similar to Africa. Like, if you look at the Sahara Desert, and if you just go slightly south, it's a jungle.
Yeah.
It's like, those should not be right next to each other, but they are, and it just works in real life. So I wanted to be realistic and make it look like it could be a real map of a real world place.
Okay, so with a lot of the the works that you do, there are different trace elements from the real world kind of woven in.
Correct. Like in the desert, you see there's like the little, it's a sea. Then from there you have a little delta, which is where the river splits. Those are incredibly rare. There's like 5 of them on Earth or something. But the biggest one is in Egypt, which is a desert. So I thought it fit perfectly into this region because it's based off of a dry desert region.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, I wanted to put like a lake in between the mountains of like a safe haven for people. And I think that it's important to make a world believable before you make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. I guess in a certain sense, you're a fan of magic and these fantasy worlds, but then there's always something that's grounded in reality. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Gotcha. And then with this map, I know it's part of a larger piece. So once you're done with all of this, what do you want the people who read this story, who get involved in this world that you've created, what do you want them to experience?
Now that is a question that I do know the answer to.
There we go.
So there are 7 major continents. I don't know what the actual scale is yet. There are going to be a lot of side stories that don't take place within the main story. And the main story is going to take place mostly on 2 to 3 of those continents. But something that I think people have become lost on in this world is that whatever's happening in your world, in your country right now, there's other stuff happening everywhere else in the world. And I think it's important to show that just because some terrible thing is happening in one part of the world does not mean the entire world is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, Idmera, there are 2 capital cities because it's been at civil war for the past few hundred years. But over in Ulam, they live a very peaceful existence. So it's the difference between this country is completely being destroyed by itself, while there's another one right next door that's living peacefully, and they probably don't know what's going on. And I know that you were a military journalist, correct?
That's correct.
So then you know the whole thing of we don't get all the information.
That is true.
And since I've been young, the world has been going more and more to shit.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
And it's basically the idea that just because there are parts of the world that are shit doesn't mean the whole world is fucked. And there's still good out in the world that's happening right this second that you may not know about. And that's why the scale of the world is so big, even though it won't all be used.
Okay. So here's another question that I have for you, and it could be a bit more reflective of the world in general. Maybe it could be, specifically to your characters that you create. But do you think, since we're talking about Infinite Shades of Grey, there not being a set good and evil, I mean, do you feel as though most people are redeemable to a certain extent?
That is a loaded question.
Some people can change. I think, a lot of people, maybe they cannot change.
I think the big problem in the world right now with people not changing is the fact that prisons are a business. We don't want people to change because then prisons lose money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is ass backwards. Instead of, if someone fucking murders someone or does something terrible to a child, lock them up forever.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hopeless, but again, depending on circumstances, for the murder part, not for the other one. The other one is completely irredeemable,
mm-hmm.
in my eyes.
Yeah.
Send those people to prison. But I don't know, if you had an armed robbery or something, no one got hurt, instead of saying you committed a crime, go to jail, instead we need to sit with that person, find out their motivation, and then say, oh, you wanted money so you could buy food. Put them in an area where they can be taught how to better provide for themselves, how to get a job, and then put them out there under supervision to help them get their life back, instead of saying you're going to the same place where these murderers and pedos are living and you're going to be treated just like them when you get out, so fuck you. And then they have no choice but to do it again because they can't find anyone who wants them to work for them because, well, you went to prison, so you're a terrible person. And I think that we should rehabilitate instead of locking people up. And I think 99% of people can be helped. I know not everyone's going to see it that way, but that's my opinion, bro.
Understood. So I've only got a few questions left, and they're not as serious as prison reform, as we've been kind of alluding to. So nothing
on
that
a
deep.
lot of rants.
No worries. I mean, you can talk as much as you want about anything, pretty much. So with all the projects that you have going on right now, where do you want to be? Say in 5 years.
I want to obviously be making money from my ventures, from streaming. I want to like be able to hire people to like help me with editing and stuff like that, who wouldn't normally be able to find a lot of work. And I want to be able to take any influence that I would have and put it back into the community. Like, if I make extra money more than what I need and more than what makes me comfortable, I would absolutely put that back into the community and give it to someone who is in my shoes now, who needs help getting to where they need to be in order to live a comfortable life. I want to be in a better place where I can both be creating stuff and helping other people in their lives. Because at the moment, I'm the person who needs help a lot, which I feel bad about. But yeah, so I just want to be in a place where I can help people out.
Well, it sounds like maybe founding an LLC in the near future is is definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Is there really anything else you want to say to help tell your story, or to say anything that hasn't been said about the Black Rose yet?
Whatever you do, do it with all of your passion, and the only way you will ever fail at what you're doing is if you stop trying and you give up. Even if no one likes what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting anyone, just keep doing it. Who cares if they don't like it? Because they're not you. You're you. And the only opinion that matters is your own.
That's right. I totally agree. I absolutely agree. All right. Well, Bianca, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for being my second guest for this new adventure of mine, Bull in a China Shop. Always a pleasure talking to you, and usually for a lot of our conversations, we always loop back into either Greek and Roman mythology or astrophysics, and pretty much every time I talk to you, I learn something new, so it's always fascinating.
Yeah, learning is fun.
Yes. But for everybody who is still watching, if you haven't checked out Bianca's YouTube channel, please click the link that is pinned to the top of chat now. Bianca.
Logic. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, Bianca is going to be streaming live here in less than an hour on that channel. So if you enjoyed the brief taste of Bianca, you can have the full course meal on the YouTube channel. That was that was a terrible analogy, but hey, I did it. All right.
It's like part Parmesan, part Asagio. Asagio?
Asagio.
Asiago.
All right. But yes, hey, it was fun. Thank you so much for the conversation. Always appreciate
thanks
it.
for having me.
And to everybody else, thank you so much for watching the second episode of Bull in a China Shop. I got a few more topics that are coming up here in the next few weeks that I'm trying to get lined up. So stay tuned for more of those. And with that being said, that is going to be the end of the show, everybody. So Bianca, I guess any last words?
Subscribe to Mr. Beat now.
Oh my god.
No, just that like I would really appreciate it if people would like keep an eye out for the Black Rose and check out my YouTube, because as Yuma knows, I put way too much effort into my YouTube channel. My entire life revolves around art and YouTube. I work on that stuff probably close to like 14 hours a day, and I don't take days off.
Yes, and I've watched hours and hours of your art streams, and I know the amount of effort you put into pretty much everything that you create. So, it truly is an inspiration. I can't draw for shit, so I can't do coloring. I can't draw.
For that, one thing I can say is that there is no natural talent in art. It is all just skill. And it is a skill that I believe anyone can learn at any time in their life.
Yes.
But I do have a question for you before we end.
You have a question? Okay.
Do you mind if I shill my Discord and YouTube in the chat?
Please do.
If anyone wants to check out my Discord where I post on my artwork and stuff, you can join it there. If you want to check out my streams, at the moment I do a lot of art and Nier Automata, Final Fantasy 14. Go check that out. I stream almost every day unless I'm just not in a good mindset, which has been happening a lot less now that I'm out of Texas.
That's good. Yes, I'm glad to hear. We both
I
like
I
in
used to
the
have to
past
take-
year. In the past year, we both made drastic moves, different living situations. So I think
Yeah,
we're both in better places now.
in Texas, I had to take sometimes weeks off at a time because I just was not in a good way. But here I've had to take like just 2 or 3 like days off.
Yeah, yeah. That's glad to hear. I really am glad to hear it.
Aside from when I broke my body.
Yeah. Well, it's we
But
just
that's
got.
different.
Yeah, that's an entirely other story. We should just get you a gigantic hamster ball, and then you'll live in that perpetually and just be safe forever. So. All right, but yes, everybody. So make sure you check out Bianca's YouTube channel. Visit her Discord to see more of the Black Rose artwork, and then of course she literally is streaming like every day. So if you can,
Final Fantasy 14, and tomorrow is the Master Quest. If you want to check that out, it is.
Yes.
I need to play through Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, all 3 heart runs, meaning I'm not allowed to get any extra health, and everything late game will one-shot me. And if I die at any point in any of the 5 games, I have to restart the entire challenge again. It is painful to say the least, but it's a lot of fun, and even if I suck at it, it's fun to be able to just dick around and have fun with people.
yes. So everybody, if you want to see Mousy inflict pain on herself, there you go. Lots of opportunities.
Yeah, you can even donate to make the pain worse.
Yes. Yeah, you can do anything you want. Mousy loves it.
Hell yeah, harder, daddy.
All right. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and we'll be signing off. But yes, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. And Bianca, thank you for the conversation. As always, pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Have a good Friday. Love you lots and talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. Boo.
Bye.